Allison.
Good morning and welcome to Voices of the Goddess. My name is Allison Mancini and I am your wellness warrior. And I'm joined here by my awesome partner in crime, Miss.
Hi, I'm Julietta, the magical PT. And you already kind of introduced us. I have to do that.
Hi. Hi, it's all
So,
good.
but this morning we are joined by interior designer extraordinaire MaryScott Canada. Welcome to the show. We are so happy to have you.
Oh, thank you. It's so nice
Tell our listeners a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you both. I do residential interiors. That means I work on people's homes. My job is to make your home nice and tell your story and make it a place that is a haven, a comfort to you, something that, recharges your battery. You may not be here for long. You may be running right out the door to do something else. But while you're here, it needs to tell your story and make you feel good about the space that you're in.
Yeah, I think that's so important to have your surroundings like nourish your soul. And
it is part of nourishing your soul and making you feel good. And if you're going into a home and you dread pulling up to the driveway and you sit in your car longer, something is wrong. So there are parts and things that are falling apart in the house and you're just not looking at them or trying not to deal with them and living your life scooting around them. It's not serving you. And, you've made an investment in your home. You want your home to serve you.
Well, and I think right now, too, with everything that we're going through, so many of us are in our homes way more than we ever used to be. And I think it's so important right now that actually, feels good. I know for myself personally, my office is in my home. So I go from upstairs to the kitchen, to my office, to the kitchen, to the backyard. I'm here all the time. And so having that energy, that good energy in that space is so, so important.
Absolutely, and it needs to function for you. The big, pandemic and with people working remotely at home, some people will probably not ever go back to a brick and mortar outside of their home to an office. They will work remotely at home. So you want it to be a space that encourages productivity, encourages creativity. You're inspired, in your home. And if you're going to do that at work, you certainly want to do it in the rest of your life. I read something recently that somebody said that work will go on without you. You're whatever career you're in, there'll be other people to do your job. Your real life is your home life, is with your family and your friends. And I thought, oh wow, what a powerful statement. So, make your home, part of your story and part of who you really are.
Yeah, wow, that is hugely powerful. I love that. Wow. Yeah.
Should we dive into our questions?
Yeah, let's do it. All right. This is the fun part.
All right. So, MaryScott, what is your superpower or what would you choose it to be?
Oh, you guys ask such easy questions. There's so many to choose from. I would probably fly.
Ooh.
Fish or bird. I'd be a bird. My husband and a few other people have accused me of being a butterfly. They say you flit around all different things. But if I really had a superpower, I think it would be to help people feel good about themselves, to help them open their eyes to the beauty around them, not just things, but in other people. And I guess that kind of does tie into fly because to me, everything is so pretty. I can see beauty in things, and I wish that other people could, pull the curtain back and take a second look and realize, wow, we've got a lot to be appreciative of, and focus on the good instead of, getting caught behind this veil of, oh, well, that's not perfect, or it could be better, or yeah, well, maybe it can always be better, but it's good now too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I always feel that way. Like, when I have my clients in the office and they're always, talking about everything that's wrong and everything that's bad. And I'm always like, man, I wish you could see you how I see you, because when I see people, like, all I see is the beauty that's there. And I think that all of us need to tune into that way more, because it is true. Like, we just become so self-critical around ourselves. But when we look at other people, we see the beauty in them. And so we all get to see that everywhere.
What is it? Energy flows where attention goes. So if you focus on the bad, you're going to attract bad. And yes, you're right. There are bad things. But if you focus on the good, you're also right. There are a lot of good things.
And that can be applied to, this whole 2020 and COVID times. Allison and I, we've talked a lot about this, that so much good has come out of this for me and for other people. And I think some of that is because I kept my focus on what's good. And, yes, I can see the bad that's there, and not to diminish it. A lot of crappy stuff has happened, but if we keep our focus there, we're just going to create more of that crappy stuff. So let's put our focus on what's good and what's happening that's bettering our lives. And
absolutely.
Love it.
All right, question number 2. What is a book that has greatly influenced your life?
I kind of have 3 that I would say. When I was in the 6th grade, I read To Kill a Mockingbird. And it was the first book that I read that was like, whoa, books are cool. It opened up a whole new world for me. So and then when I was a teenager, I read a romance novel, The Flame and the Flower. I know it's silly. If my high school friend could hear me now talk about it, she would laugh. I can't believe you said that out loud, MaryScott. But it had a huge influence on my life. It just kind of, I went from a child to a young woman looking around and realizing, oh, there's my body's changing, and there's, boys out there and everything. But as an adult, Conversations with God. I love that book. It's one of my favorite books. I listened to it audio, and then I gave it to my daughter. I wish somebody had given it to me years and years and years ago, but I just absolutely love the book, and I would highly recommend it.
I have never read that book. I've never read it. I'm like, ooh, writing that down. Like, I'm a crazy person about books. Like, I read constantly.
Yeah, it's really, really an extraordinary book, and I don't think that anybody could be offended by it. It's very interesting. The audio is Ernest Borgnine. I should have looked it up, and I can't remember the female, but the voice goes back and forth between male and female, and it's just so well thought out. Such a wonderfully soothing book. It's again, a lot about focusing on the positive and, being appreciative of the gifts that we have in our lives. And, but it'll keep you. It's not, all, marshmallows and popcorn. It's going to keep you interested, I think. So.
I love that book. I can't even remember how long ago I read that book. It's definitely been a long time. Maybe time to revisit it again. But I loved books that are channeled, and just because, like, it's an experience I have a lot myself. Like, when I'm writing, also when I'm talking, like with my patients, they'll be like, "Can you repeat what you said?" And I'm like, honestly, I can't, because that didn't even come from me. That came through me.
Wow.
And Conversations with God wasn't the first channeled book that I read, but there's something about all of the, like Seth Speaks and the Cryon books and Esther Hicks, Abraham, like all of those books that are channeled through people. Oh, and A Course in Miracles, like something about them just like really like stirs me on the inside. Like this is, and I think it's something that we all have the potential to allow messages from Source, God, whatever you want to call that, can come through any of us if you just allow it to happen. So so definitely conversations with God inspired me a lot.
Yeah, sometimes when you hear that voice inside of you, sometimes I guess I'm not paying attention. Other times I do hear something inside of me that's saying, hey, think about this, or, remember that. And I kind of feel like, I don't know if it's channeling, but I always kind of feel like I have a guardian angel or two that are trying to help me, chart my path. But I haven't read Course in Miracles, and it's on my list, so I will.
That's a long read. I have it on audiobook, and I have to say, like, I've definitely not gotten through all of it. But what I find helps, like, there's so many people that have gone and written in their own words, like the message behind it. And I will say those are a lot easier to listen to and process and get the message that was coming through the Course in Miracles. But
I tried Seed of the Soul, and my husband and I started listening to it, and we're rewinding the thing all the time. Can we hear that again? We hear that again? It's some of it's a little complicated to follow. But my understanding is it's harder not to live that way than it is. We just have to get rid of some of our habits, or I have to get rid of some of my bad habits. So, yeah.
Nice. All right.
All right. Next question is, what is your favorite self-care practice?
Ooh. Who doesn't love a good massage or a facial, or anything that's pampering? But I have to say, it's on something I do frequently. What I really enjoy is walks. That is self-care for me. I love, a good long walk, 8-10 miles. If I'm in someplace new that I don't know, oh gosh, I just love to walk for a few hours to get to know the place and see all the good things I can find and all the cool things that I see that I haven't seen before.
You definitely see things differently when you're walking versus driving in the car, biking, running, like slowing down, taking it all in.
Yeah.
I was recently reading a book, and I cannot, like I said earlier, I'm a book fanatic. If you saw all the bookshelves in my house, they're packed. But I was reading a book recently, and they were talking about when you go for a walk, how important it is to actually pay attention to your surroundings. Like, so many times we're so like laser focused. I even catch myself doing it, and I'm walking and I'm looking like down at the sidewalk in front of me. I'm not even like taking in what's around me. And I really have started to pay attention to what's around me and appreciate the trees and the sun and the flowers and the grass and all this stuff. So I am in agreement with you. Like, I walk every single day, even just a couple miles, just because I feel better. Yeah. When I get outside and I have that movement. And yeah, I think it's really important.
I think so too. And I like to walk down by the ocean.
Yeah.
Because I'm close to the beach, I walk along it and watch the sunrise in the morning. And you get a do-over.
The ocean, like, people are drawn to live there because the ocean produces all these negative ions that are so healing for us. And so yeah, if you can get to the ocean, that's the best. Yeah,
it feels good, and it's also my favorite colors. I don't know if you can see, I'm in a kind of an oceany shirt. I just love the all the colors in the water, and I love the fact that it changes. Sometimes it's more violet and eggplant, and then it goes, all the way up to like a teal or, almost even a pinkish cast to it. So yeah, that's my best favorite self-healing is walking along the ocean.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I'm a water girl too. I love it.
So you need to move east, Allison.
I know.
Or there's lakes out there somewhere. Get yourself on a lake.
Well, yeah, that too. All right. Our final question, Julietta.
Yes. And this comes, we did some surveying before we started this podcast to see our audience what would be supportive to them. And the big thing that came out is everybody wants help being accountable. So what is your favorite, or how do you create accountability in your life?
Well, if you know me, you might know I have a lot of attitude, and I raised two small beings with attitude. And these children of mine in my life do not let me miss a trick. They're ready to call me out on anything and everything, which is great. I love the fact that they are comfortable enough, and they of course do it in a nice manner, that they're like, hey, my daughter calls me Scotty. She doesn't even call me mom. Hey Scotty, you need to, or why don't you, or that's not so cool. So all right, fine. In my business, my associate was my mentor. So he has several dozens years of experience in the industry, and he will help me and keep me in line to make sure that we're accountable. I make lists, and I have to say, he's the one that taught me to make lists. It's very gratifying to draw a line through an item on the list. And, you get as far as you can on the list, and you look back through your day and you figure out, well, okay, was my time spent wisely? Could I have improved on focusing on another aspect, or did I waste any time, on something that was not moving me forward? Was it, serving me? All of the clients are wonderful. They're just absolute angels, and everybody's so easy to please. It's a complete waste of time to focus on, any issue like that. You've got to solve the problem and move forward. So I would say, my mentor and my list help keep me accountable.
You know what, though? I have to say, I love the point you made about your kids, because that is so true. So I think our kids are about the same age. My kids are 24 and 21. And, they say that, what's that saying about out of the mouth of babes? Like, my kids call me out on stuff still, and Julietta knows Lexi well. She still calls me out on stuff. Like, that's a really good point of view, is that your kids, to a point, do hold you accountable. Like, you are an example to them. And when you're doing things that are not, over the years, I can think of things that my kids were like, Mom, like, nah, that's not going to work. Like, no. You know what I mean? So that's an interesting way to look at it. I really like that. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, well, you have to live your truth, or they're going to tell you you're not.
So true.
That old adage, don't do as I say, do as I do. Didn't really work for my parents with me, and I never even bothered issuing it with my kids. So.
Right, that's so true. Well, we got a heart on that one, so I think there's other people that totally agree.
Okay.
Oh, awesome.
Nice. All right, takeaways, ladies. Allison, what was your takeaway from this podcast this morning?
Okay, first of all, I need to read Conversations with God. I already put it in my Amazon cart. Thank you very much. Add that to the 400 books that are also already sitting there. And I think the other thing, honestly, is what we just said, is I never viewed that way with my children, that they are part of what keeps they hold me accountable. I have to, there's a standard I want to uphold when what I'm doing, everything, whether it's in my business or family or friends, they definitely, in the back of my mind, I know that they're watching me. So that is definitely a good way to stay accountable. So thank you for sharing that.
I guess my takeaway, it's funny, I feel like this happens a lot. Like, it's before we get to the questions when we're talking about other things and talking about, the importance of having your environment around you, just being supportive and nurturing, and especially in modern times when we're spending a lot more time in our homes because we can't get out. And it's the same thing for my office as well. Like, creating that feeling. And also knowing, like, so many people walk in both to my house and my office and talk about how the space makes them feel. And I hope it's something that more people start paying attention to, is creating space that makes you feel good. MaryScott, what is your takeaway from the podcast today?
Well, podcasting is not that hard. It's not. As a guest, let me say, I don't want to be running the thing, but no, the questions were interesting, and they made you think. But I kind of feel, because I can't see anybody, and I guess I'm such a visual person, that we're just hanging out, us girls, just chatting, and it's I wish I could do this on BNI, because I'm very relaxed. I'm not tense, and it's really quite lovely. Thank you again, both, for inviting me.
Thank you for joining us. And when you're on BNI, just think like you're just having a conversation with Allison and I. It's the same thing. But also, I think this speaks a lot to, like, going through ancient times and stuff, was like the women, like, gathered together and to solve the issues of the tribe. And, that's kind of what we're here doing, is just us as women who've lived through a lot of life so far, and just taking the wisdom of what we've gained in these times, to share that with each other and help solve each other's problems. So that's all this is.
Yeah, I love that. I love a community of women. I grew up in a family with two sisters, and my father was out working a lot, so it was very strongly female, all girls Catholic school. Lots of women community in my life. But I love what you just said, solving the problems of the tribe. Like, those idiot men need to listen to us way more.
Well, and that's part of this. It's been a big part of my journey the last, 5 or 6 years, tapping into that sacred feminine energy that has been so missing from humanity for, as long as we can go back. It's been such a patriarchal society. And for us to truly heal and find balance in this world, we need to resurrect the sacred feminine. And that's a huge piece of what this is about. So, yeah.
Well,
all right, ladies. Well,
thank you for joining us, MaryScott. This was fabulous, and I'll let Julietta wrap it up.
So we want to say thank you to all our listeners for listening into our show today. And if you've enjoyed what you've heard, please subscribe so that you can get the support you need in becoming the goddess that you are meant to be. And coming up in the show notes, you'll be able to find out information on how to connect with us and links to any of the resources that we mentioned in the show today. So I wish you all a magical day.
Bye.
Bye.